This is Mitch, and welcome to the 1000houses.com podcast. I am here with Larry Goins, my good friend. You know, we have a lot in common. We're both backwoods country dumbasses who like to write songs and buy a lot of houses. Larry, you're sitting physically in what city, what state?
I'm in Lake Wiley, South Carolina, right across the state line from Charlotte, North Carolina. And we've got a small office here. I've got a small team. We still buy and sell about 7 to 12 deals a month. I got a contract offer accepted this morning, actually. And so it's what I do. I love real estate. I do teach occasionally. I don't travel and speak and teach as much as I used to. And I stopped doing my own events a couple of years ago, right before COVID. But I love doing real estate. We just have a small team here. I got a couple of girls in the Philippines. You can see them on the screen over there. I keep them on Zoom all day long. And so they can talk to me. They're my setters, and they'll tee them up for me, gather seller information and, property info and motivation and all that. And then they'll just unmute themselves and say, "Hey, Larry, can you take a call?" They'll transfer it to me live and stay on the phone and listen. And now I even have them making offers as well. So it works out pretty cool.
What a neat idea to just have them on a screen all day long, Zoom, just like if they were sitting in your office.
Yeah, they're on a big screen TV right behind me over here.
They got a question. They just unmute and ask you the question. They got something hot. They say, "Hey, we got a hot one here. You want to chime in? You got time to chime in?"
Exactly.
Wow, that's brilliant. I think that's really brilliant.
It is pretty cool. It is pretty. And you know what? The coolest thing about it, Mitch, is it makes them feel like a part of the team. The only thing they can't do is physically be here, have a meal with us or whatever, but they literally are a part of the team. And they've been with us for Donna now going on about 3 years. And Jean is, I think, about a year or a little over a year.
Yeah, the VAs I have been with me 5 or 6 years now, I think. That's and what to your point of what you said. A lot of times when people don't have the camaraderie or they're not involved in the culture of the business, they just drift off, right? They lose interest. Right. They don't feel nearly as important or I guess disconnected is the word. And now
that's a good point.
That's a great way for them to be connected. They have to show up. I mean, you'd obviously know if they weren't there. Because sometimes a problem, when you're dealing overseas. I think it's a brilliant idea. I don't know why I had never heard of it or seen it before, but that's a good idea.
Awesome.
All right, so let's just jump right in. The key is finding a deal. Where does it start in Larry Goins' world? Where does it start? And we're going to be talking about a webinar that's coming up that's going to get it's an hour and a half into this. It's really methodically thought out. So we're just kind of giving the highlights. If you guys want to be on this webinar, you go to 1000houses.com /riches. Over there, that'll take you to the show notes. Anything we talk about today will be in the show notes. We got a giveaway for you. It's a one-page offer to purchase. If you want to know what a one-page offer, there's a chance to go get it right over at 1000houses.com /riches. You also have a chance to connect with this webinar that's going to be going on here in the very near future and get just the ABCs all the way from A all the way to Z, exactly how it works in order. We're going to brief you with it today. So where does finding cheap houses start in your world, Larry?
That's a great question. And just to kind of piggyback on what you said, the webinar is going to be all about how to make more money on a rundown $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 house than the average investor makes on a $100,000 house, guaranteed. And, it's similar, but it's different to what you do. What you and I do are similar in some ways, but they complement each other. That's why we work so well together, right? So I'm really excited about the webinar that we have coming up that we're going to do live for everybody and share with them how to make triple digit, even infinite returns. And it's going to be a little twist on what you do. And man, I love what you do as well, because I listen to your podcast when I'm running or walking or whatever, and I'm taking notes and writing this stuff down. You got some really good stuff out there as well. So I love it as well. But to get back to your original question, where does the deal start with? Well, right now, as you know, Mitch, you got to get off market properties. You can't really be buying many many properties off the MLS or HUD. I wrote a book about HUD houses, HUD homes half off, how to buy them for pennies on the dollar, but there's not many of them out there right now, right? So you got to go after off market properties. And I don't care if you do direct mail or RVM, ringless voicemail, SMS, text messaging, or cold calling, whatever, it doesn't matter. The first thing you got to do is you got to be in the right market, okay? You got to pick the right market. And by picking the right market, I'm in the Charlotte MSA. Charlotte's right across the bridge from me. We're right next to the lake, right? But I haven't bought a house in Charlotte in probably 5 or 6 years. I'm a firm believer you go out 2 or 3 counties outside of the MSA, and that's where you get the deals. I mean, we're picking up properties for, I just got an offer accepted this morning. Well, I told you I had one accepted. I had 2 accepted. Now that I think of it, one was for 35,000 for a 5-acre lot. And lots are going for around 15, 20 grand an acre over there. So I got one lot for 35 grand, 5 acres. Right. So that's not a bad deal. And then I got another property, a single family house, been vacant for 4 or 5 years. I got it for 7 grand. Right. So that's 2 deals. But you got to pick the right market. And I'm a firm believer in going out into the small towns, small town USA. Right. You have less competition. You're dealing with, good people, salt of the earth people, and you're not dealing with the big competition like you have to deal with in the major MSAs where all of the big companies are that have teams and salespeople, acquisition people, disposition people. When you're going into small town USA, you're just dealing with Bob and Mary and Jim, and you're just talking junk to them, and you're just having a good time with them. And it's all about the relationship, not about, well, I've got 8 other people giving me offers. What's your offer going to be? It's not that at all. So the first thing you got to do is pick the right market. Then you got to pick the right list. I'm a firm believer in having the right list to market to. Here's some categories that I like in my list. I want under 100,000 value. I want free and clear, owned by an individual, at least 5 years. Okay. And with it being free and clear, I can make multiple offers on that property. In fact, we make 2, sometimes 3 or 4 offers on every property, every seller that we talk to, right? Of the 7 to 12 deals a month that we buy, about 1 to 3 of them I buy with 100% seller financing, no money down.
Wow. So there you have it. So, when I named my company cash4houses.net, I actually did that because we're supposed to make 4 offers on every deal. There's 4 different choices. I don't care which one they pick. Just
right.
pick,
Right.
And you said, so the right market, I get that. The list, under 100,000 free and clear, and the owners have had it for at least 5 years. So that's just stuff or most of these.
Yeah, it's not anything out of the ordinary. I like under 100,000. I want it to be in free and clear. I want it to be non-owner occupied. I don't like owner occupied stuff. I failed to mention that earlier. I don't like owner occupied. I like vacant properties. Maybe they're rental owned. A tired landlord is one of my best sellers, right? Because they're tired. They don't want to pay taxes when they sell the money. They like the cash flow, but they're tired of dealing with tenants, trash, termites, and toilets, right? So they'll sell me those properties all day long at where I could set up the terms. I can pay them their price. I can give them no interest, 3%, 5% interest, and I can keep their payment about 50 to 60% of what the rents are. And I can sell that deal all day long, or I can keep it for myself.
So let's talk about that for a second. Those landlords that don't want anymore, they've run their course. They may have multiple properties to sell you, number one. Number two, they understand cash flow and lien law and how they're protected, and that it's okay to take their money in payments. And then last but not least, a lot of them have already made it into a certain tax bracket. They understand the importance of not taking the lump sum today, that they just need to spread out over the years. So landlords are a good place to go if you're looking for seller financing or someone to seller finance you the purchase, because they have a lot going for them in that department. You don't have to explain a bunch of stuff to them. They get it.
Exactly. And the cool thing about with dealing with landlords is I say, look, I want you to write this down. The IRS has this term called installment sale. It basically says if you sell your property instead of selling it for cash, if you receive your equity in monthly payments plus interest, right? You can take what's called the installment sale and spread out your tax bill over the life of the term of the loan, right? So would you like to hear more about how that works? And then I just start putting some numbers together, whatever they ask for the property, I give them exactly what they want for the property. And I say, look, the banks are charging about 2 to 3% right now. I tell you what, I can make my numbers work and I can pay you 5% interest, right? And then I just figure out the payment. Let's say the rent was $1,000 and I'm going to be paying them $550 a month, right? And and I stretch it out, whether it's 10, 15, 20 years, whatever, and I say, and then I also quote them the total payback. You're going to get $548.29 a month for the next 240 months. Your total payback is, wow, that's $128,277. Wow. And if God forbid something were to happen to you, you don't say if you die, you say if God forbid something were to happen to you, your wife or your son would keep getting that money every single month, just like clockwork, until you'd received all that 128,000, whatever it was, right? And they like that. They like that. So because some of them, most of the people that you buy from that way, they are they're in their 70s and 80s, right? And I'm not going to live that long. Well, let me ask you a question. Would you rather outlive your money, or would you rather your money keep going after you, right? Would you rather your money outlive you?
That's a very good reply. Super reply, because most of the people that are up in years, their biggest argument is, well, I'm not going to live long enough to get all that money. You say, well, that's a perfect answer. You want to live longer than your money, or you want your money to live longer than you? I think you want your money to live longer than you.
Oh, here's another really good one too, Mitch, is I tell them, I say, some of my sellers tell me, quite frankly, if something happened to them and their kids inherit the cash, it's going to be gone within 30 days. This way, your son and daughter is going to get a check every single month, and it's going to last much, much longer.
Yeah, that's a really good reply too, because most people who don't earn the money will blow through it pretty fast.
That's true. Who don't earn the money, it'll be gone.
Yeah, heaven forbid they have a propensity for drugs or something. It could kill that amount of money could kill them. So
that's true. That's true.
So you got the market, you got the list. Okay, so you got your list. You found your market. You have your list in the market. What happens now? I'm guessing you turn them over to the VA. They start doing some kind of work. What are they doing?
Well, we can either do postcards. I like to send out direct mail, because here's what I tell people, okay? What do you have more of, money or time? If you have more time, cold call. If you don't have money, cold call, right? If you have more money than you have time, then do direct mail, right? Do direct mail or some of the other things to make the phone ring, because I like to make the phone ring. Like right now, our two main sources are TV. We spend about 8 to 10 grand a month on TV, and we do some direct mail out about 30,000 postcards a month. Right? So we make the phone ring, and we tell people, even in our TV ads, right? Even in our TV ads, we tell people, hey, call us right now. We're the ones you're going to talk to on the phone. And it's Candace and I in the TV ad. And Candace, yeah. So she goes out to take a look at the properties whenever, once we get locked up under contract, she goes out and does the property eval. She might have to get the contract signed, but most of the time we try to get it signed through Right Signature or a mobile notary up front. And then she goes out and walks the property and takes pictures with them. So we tell them, hey, we're the ones you're going to be working with, right? Not somebody else. You're going to be working directly with us. So, and that's pretty cool. It gives you some legitimacy, I guess. And, that, are you the guy that's on TV? So that's pretty cool,
Yeah. So what do you have your VAs doing for you?
Well, they're pre-qualified. They're what I call setters. Okay. We have a set and close script, and they're the setters. They tee them up for us. And what they do is they gather all the property details. They look up the tax ID number. They find out whose name the property's in. They get all the information about the repairs and what's been done in the last couple of years, what hasn't been done, what does it need to have done. Is there anybody else involved in the decision making? How soon do you want to sell? What's more important to you? A quick cash sell as is, or getting the most amount of money, even if you got to wait a while and fix it up? Is there anybody going to be upset if you sell? What do you plan to do if you can't sell? All those kind of things. And then they chat me the link right from there, right from the Philippines. They chat me the link and then transfer the call to me live, and they stay on the call so they can hear me. And now they're closing some of their own deals.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's one of the advantages of them getting to hear you because they learn how to talk to the people.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's really cool. And always start out my call. I'll say something like, hey, I understand you've been talking to Jean about your house. By the way, how did Jean treat you? Oh yeah, she's a sweetheart, isn't she? Yeah, I love her to death. She's a great part of our team. Something like that. And the people on the phone, they don't even know they're in the Philippines. They have no idea.
Oh, really? So
Yeah,
your VAs are pretty good at English then.
very good, very good.
Yeah. So just so people know, there has been so much going on in the Philippines. Like you used to have to, you could go through third parties who would hire and train, but there are so many Filipinos that have gone through these programs or have worked for people like me or Larry or other people that they're out there all the time. And you can usually, I mean, nothing's easy, right? But I'm just saying you can usually find the right person for your business if you get out there. I've been using the website onlinejobs.ph. That's how I find some people. But
I've had some people from onlinejobs.ph.
yeah, and and surprisingly enough, a lot of people that answer my my job position openings, my job opening, they have worked for years for other people. They're very familiar. Like you don't have to train all of them from the very beginning. A lot of them know how to do a lot of stuff. So
Exactly. Exactly. That's true. I've used many over the years, but now I use VLM, virtual lead managers, and
virtual.
they've been trained in advance. I know the owners of it, Christina Kraus and her sister Brenda, and they're just awesome to work with. But they train them for real estate up front, and they also have weekly trainings, and we also have weekly trainings as well. On Thursdays, Thursday morning, right after our morning meeting, they'll spend 45 minutes or so and they'll go through some kind of training. Hey, Mitch, it might be your training, it might be Closers Olympics, it might be somebody else's training, whatever, Steve Train's training or something about sales and negotiating and handling objections and stuff like that. And then on Friday, we do call critiques. We call them plus deltas. So they'll pick two or three, they'll pick one call from each person and they'll listen to it. And then the whole team will be on Zoom listening to it. And they'll say, okay, what did they do right? What could they have done better? Right. And we do that on Fridays.
Wow. So you're really keeping those VAs engaged and growing and their
Yeah.
their minds fully engaged all the time. That's probably I know it's a commitment, but that's probably a large part of your success right there.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And they're doing a great job. They really are.
Yeah.
And we've
That's
got them
been
on our website. Their picture is on our website. Their direct phone number, their email address. I mean, if you go to our website, you'll see them right there on our website. And they love that. They're really a part of the team.
yes. And the Filipino culture loves being part of that team and making a difference for their boss of the company, which
Absolutely.
might be hard to understand from an entrepreneurial sitting over here in the United States, but that's their culture and it's important to them. So do you do any skip tracing? What you use a skip trace company or you're calling people?
Yeah, we do. I'm in a couple of masterminds, as you know, and so there's a lot of different skip tracers out there. I mean, a lot of people are like, how cheap can you get skip tracing? But it's not all about how cheap you can get it, right? There's some out there you can get for a few pennies, but then there's more expensive and more expensive and most expensive. And a couple of guys in a mastermind had done some research on all the different skip traces sources. And what they had found was, one of the best ones out there was Skip Genie. It's the most expensive, but it's one of the best. They get like a very high hit rate as far as like if you upload a list, they'll be able to skip like 90 or 95% of them. And I think the next in line was Lead Sherpa. And so what we try to do is we'll skip them with Lead Sherpa and then skip them with Skip Genie, and the ones that Lead Sherpa didn't get a hit on. And Lead Sherpa also does SMS marketing. And I know you've got some of that too. You use, what is it,
Yeah.
Livecom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Live.
And that's awesome. I've used that before too. It's an awesome service. I love it. I love the way you use it to sell properties too. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. I got mine down to 4 days on the market, but just a little evolution. So that's
Nice.
pretty smart. Larry Higgins over at Skip Genie's a good guy, a good friend of mine. I like your cleverness. You use a little bit cheaper one, and if you get a hit on the numbers, then that's fine. But the ones that they don't get a hit on, you just move that remainder amount over to Skip Genie
Exactly.
and let
Exactly.
them make a run at it. Because at the end of the day, you need the phone number or nothing works,
Right.
the
Right.
contact information. And it really doesn't matter if you pay $1 for it or $10 for it. You're not buying anything if you don't start connecting with people. So you got to get good information. So
That's so true. And you know what we found is there have been people that have been in our list or on our list in our database for, a year or year and a half or even 2 years. And we've called them, we've sent them postcards, we've done everything. But then all of a sudden, like they'll call, hey, I just happened to see your TV ad. I mean, come on, we've been calling you, texting you, sending you ringless voicemail and sending you postcards for 2 years. And you see us on TV and now you're calling.
yeah,
Uh, you
sometimes
just
it's
never
not a
know.
good idea unless it's their idea.
Exactly.
Um,
That's
all right.
funny. I
So
love it.
tell us on the webinar, what are you going to be teaching? And I heard it's about an hour and a half long. Is that right?
It is. It's about a 90-minute webinar. And and I'm going to share some things about, Mitch, I've had more people get started with this one method I call filthy riches, all about finding dirt cheap houses, turn around and sell them for 3 to 6 times what you paid with owner financing and a reasonable down payment. And the way that we do it, the way we structure our deals, which we'll go into detail on the webinar, but the way we structure our deals, the way we work with the sellers, work with the buyers, and not only are you getting triple digit returns, but I can literally show you in 12 months, you can have over $12,000 a month passive income coming in, free and clear, right? Free and clear. Now if you're not as aggressive, it might take you 24 months. If you're a little lazy, it might take you 36 months. But I can show you how to do that. We're going to go into detail on that, and I'm going to show you step by step. I've got 9 simple steps that we're going to go through step by step by step on the webinar. So whenever they do that, whenever they register, thousandhouses.com/riches, is that it?
Yep.
When they go there and register, we're going to save them a seat, and then we're going to go into detail and make sure you get a pen and paper and take lots of notes. We'll do some Q&A if you want to at the end, and we'll make sure that you get all your questions answered. And I promise you, I don't care if you can barely spell real estate or you've been doing real estate longer than me, I guarantee you're going to learn some things you never knew about real estate.
Yep. And that's from that 35 years worth of experience in a very niche. And very few people have spent that amount of time developing the niche that Larry has. Just the same with my niche that I'm in. I mean,
Right.
very few people have spent 27 years in seller financing their properties to their buyers. I mean, not a whole lot of people have done it. So,
Mitch, it's kind of funny. I had a student a while back, since you mentioned how long we've been doing this. I had a student a while back that, told me, he said, Larry, I never get on webinars. I don't do this. I've been doing this business for, I forget what it was, like 15 years or something, right? I don't need this stuff. But something about your webinar just intrigued me. I wanted to get on it. And he'd sent me this email. He was like, and after watching your webinar and going through it and taking notes, he said, I came to realize I didn't really have 15 years worth of experience. I got about 1 or 2 years of experience repeated 15 times. I'm like, man, this guy gets it, right? He gets it,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because I've been doing this 35 years, but I'm still learning. I watch podcasts. I subscribe to your podcast, and there's other ones out there, and I'm watching webinars and in masterminds and buy courses. My credit card statement come in the other day, and my wife says, what's this $997? I'm like, well, that's a real estate training I got. She said, I thought you teach this stuff, right?
Well, I know, but you only need one nugget to change the whole way. I mean, one of those things
Exactly.
one of those. I can't tell you how many times, you know, and if you've been in the business for a lot of years or done a lot of transactions, it gets harder to find a nugget when you walk into the seminar. It's a little harder, right? Because you know a
That's
lot of
right.
things already. But the only reason you're going there is to find one nugget out of the whole weekend, something you didn't know that could improve your business. Larry, have you ever been to a webinar or seminar and slapped your forehead when you heard the nugget and said, "Man, if I'd have known that trick the last 15 years, I'd be worth another
Right,
$2
right.
million dollars." You know what I mean?
Exactly. The last, I was just, as we were talking, I pulled up my notes from my iPhone and I just typed in your name. And I'm like, here's a whole page of notes right here with your name at the top. See? I'm like, man, this is good stuff right here, right?
Yeah, one of the last ones I fell into was when I learned that you could collect the note servicing fee in with your PITI payment. So you could collect PITIS or principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and servicing and make your buyer pay for the note servicing company. I had serviced thousands of notes by the time someone showed that to me, and I thought, my God, $30, $50 a month per note per month. Everybody, it was worth hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. And I
Right.
don't know where I was or how I didn't find that until, long time down the road. And I was just slapping my head like, oh my God, if I'd have known that,
Yeah.
it'd have been
Well,
a
you
whole
took it
different
one
ballgame.
step further. You took it one step further. Is it your daughter in the note servicing business now?
Well, yeah. Yeah. And the reason why it had to be that way is because I was collecting the money, but if I collect the money and the principal and interest, then they might add that to my APR, that $35 servicing fee, because it's going in my pocket. So I
Right.
had to break out the note servicing company to someone that wasn't me or my company so
Right.
that
Right.
I could still collect it.
Right. In the case you
Yeah.
were audited, it wouldn't be usury or something like that. I get it.
Yeah.
That's
No,
awesome.
it wouldn't be
That's very
past the
smart.
Dodd-Frank ramifications. And, those are just some of the things you learn, when you're going to these seminars. And that's another thing I learned at a seminar. They said, well, you probably can't collect all that money and the servicing fee yourself because they're going to add it to your APR and hold it against you, in the Dodd-Frank rules. And I said, oh, shoot, I better get that fixed. So live and learn, live and learn. So when is this webinar going to be? Have you set a date yet?
Um, I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly when the date is.
I
I'm
think
sure it'll be in the show notes.
I think your people and my people are working on figuring it out right now. As soon as we get this over to them, but I do understand it's in the very near future. So like a week or two, I think. So go over to 1000houses.com/riches and be sure to find that date and go ahead and register for it. Also want you to go over there and get your one page offer to purchase, and you can see what Larry uses routine over and over and over again to buy all these properties, just a one pager. If you don't have a contractor, you're not happy with one, take a look at his and see what it's got. It's completely free. Just get over to the show notes, 1000houses.com/riches. What else you want to talk to us about today, Larry? What do they need to know out there?
Well, just real quick, I'm on my laptop, so I'll show you. Here's my library right here. That's my
Oh,
college
wow.
education right there.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I got guitars everywhere. That's a guitar I built right there.
Oh, wow.
There's my other libraries, right? This is my office, but I've got amps and pedal boards and everything in my office, right? So this
Living the
is
dream of an entrepreneur. You get to do what you want and you get to,
there's Donna.
hi,
Say hey,
Donna.
Donna. Wave at them.
They're busy. They're busy, Larry. They're busy buying houses.
You can see them though, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
That's
awesome.
amazing.
That's awesome.
You make a big difference in their life too over there.
Yeah, they love it. They have a great time. They have a great time. We like to have fun and make money.
Yes. So, how many deals have you done in your career, you think?
You know, I believe it's over 1,000 houses. I'm not sure. I haven't kept track. So I just say somewhere close to 1,000. I mean, I know you've done well over 1,000. But for a while, I was traveling so much, and I had other people running the real estate business. We had a big operation at one time, 26 employees and all that. And, but we weren't doing near as many deals as we're doing right now. So I just somewhere close to 1,000, I think. But I have done deals in 12 states. I do know that.
I bet you've done way more than you think you have, because I had no idea. And the only reason I figured it out was I sent someone down to my storage facility where I had all my files stored.
Oh, wow.
And I said, when I walked in there, I was blown away at the stacks and stacks of files. You know, I was just in like, holy crap, because I had to find something in one of these files. And my first inclination was I'm never going to find it. And then I just sent someone down there to count all the files, and I did the math. And that's the only reason I know. And it was way more than I thought. And I'm pretty sure you've done way more than 1,000 deals, because I just know how long you've been around and how prolific you are. So, I mean,
it just kind of, I'm not sure. And sometimes we buy packages of deals. We buy, you know, I call it a 6-pack or a 12-pack of houses or something, you know.
The 4-pack. All right, you guys. So get over there, get your 1-page offer to purchase, and make sure you sign up for the webinar, 1000houses.com/riches. It's about 9 steps to wealth. And let's talk about this. You know, everybody starts out, they want the money, they want the big hit, they need to get some money in their bank account. But eventually, every real estate investor comes to the same conclusion. It's just a job until you learn how to create some cash flow that comes in, whether you get out of bed that month or not. And that's another important thing that Larry's going to point out to you in this webinar, is how to get $12,000 a month coming in. I wish we had an audience so we could see, but if I asked this whole audience listening to raise their hand, how many people could live comfortably off of $12,000 a month? I bet you 95% of the people out in this audience could quit their job and be better off.
Not if you're married to my wife.
Well,
I'm just kidding. My wife is right around the corner.
Yes. You better do the I'm just kidding part. Really
I know, right? But you know what? It's kind of funny. My wife, she will not spend money. She is very, very good at saving money and investing money. She runs her own hard money lending business, and we just use our own money. It's not even like we're brokering loans or anything, you know, and she does very, very well. Just, you know, lending out money part-time, right? I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it can be some work because she goes out and does her property inspections herself and stuff like that. But I mean, she's making a really good return on our money, and she's taking good care of it.
I just came out with a book called The Art of Private Lending, because it's the next easiest thing to do once you figure out the business and the real estate and the liens.
I love it.
Works, you know? So I actually did it for 2 reasons. You'll appreciate this. I'm teaching people how to make 12, 14, 16, 18% on their money if they want to go to work. But if you don't want to go to work and you just want to make, you know, a premium rate of return like 8 or 9 or 10%, you can just call me and I'll apply all the things that I'm talking about here to protect both of us. And so I'm using it not only to teach people how to make over-the-top returns for themselves if they want to go to work, but how to have a passive income by loaning it to someone like me or Larry if they don't want to go to work. You know, they want to keep playing golf, but they just want to get a good return on their money and not and have more of a passive income, right? So
I love it. I love it.
I wrote the book, and you know what? I got to share a victory with you. I probably only have 150 copies out because the book just came out. And I already got a phone call from a man in Dallas that said, I read your book and I got $150,000 I want a loan. Can we meet? I said, sure. I said, how do you know me? Have you been following my blogs or my podcast? He goes, I don't know you. I just bought this book. And so just from reading the book alone, I picked up a private guy. And the point of it is, and I don't know, do you operate off your own money now, or do you use any OPM?
We just use our own right now.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Well, let me take that back. I borrow money from my wife.
Okay. Well, yes, a little incestuous relationship there. But, you know, for the majority of the people out there, let's just dispel the myth right now. When you first started and you didn't have any money, what were you doing?
Yeah, you have to use OPM, right?
Yeah. And if you think that you have to have money to do this business, then none of us would have ever been in business, because none of us had money when we started. I only know of 2 guys that had money when they started. and they had a lot of money. Guess what happened? They ran through it, they lost it all, and then they had to learn the business and build it all back, learning how to do it with no money, because it's too easy to spend your own money and do things loose when you don't. When people come to me and say, Mitch, I want to learn how to do this business. I got $500,000. First thing I tell them is, great. Take the $500,000, go put it in a 2-year CD. We're going to learn how to do this business with no money. And if you learn how to do it with no money or none of your own money, then you'll understand the business. And now you can go get your money and not lose it. You'll understand what to do. And
exactly.
But, you know, raising private money and being able to talk to people about private money, it'll change your whole world. So if you don't learn anything else in the world, but you have to find deals, because that's what brings the money, is the deal, right? Deals will bring money. It's not even about you. It's not
You're
even about,
exactly right.
It's not about your bankruptcy. It's not about what color you are. It's not about you don't speak English so good. It's not about you haven't been in the business. It's the deal that'll bring the money. The deal's good enough. People are going to want in on it. And then you got to find the money. So it's finding, funding, and selling. You know, those are maybe the three things. And don't ever forget to treat them equally in importance, because funding is everything. You get a bottomless, or you learn how to be really good at finding OPM or finding the source where you're going to fund your deals, and you can run flat out now and buy all the deals you want. It will change your life 100%. So
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And Mitch, the thing that I'm really, really glad that you wrote that book, because you and I both know there are people out there, maybe they've done 2 or 3 deals and all of a sudden they're an expert. And when they start using other people's money, if they haven't gone through some school of hard knocks, they'll overpay for properties and they'll put other people's money at jeopardy. And that's why it's very important for everybody watching and listening to this to work with somebody that's got some years of experience under their belt and knows what they're doing and has stood the test of time. So that way, when you do write that check, you know that they're going to treat it like as if it was their money, and they're going to be conservative with it. So I'm really glad you wrote that book.
The number one rule for me was, you know, I have 26 million of private money out right now on the street. I make payments on 26 million to private lenders on the first of every month. It's non-recourse, collateral-only loans, wrappable mortgage. You know, I can wrap this mortgage. I won't go into that right now, but I can wrap it at real decent rates for longer periods of time, like 10 and 15 years. One of the reasons for my success, and I know that you have the same school of thought, just because you have a bunch of money, either from other people or in your own bank account, doesn't mean you change your underwriting guidelines. You're still going to buy houses at this rate, at this level,
right,
this amount of risk or whatever. You don't start changing it because you have a lot of option to get money. You stay with the formula that made you successful.
You don't pull a Zillow and go spend $7 billion paying retail for properties that you're now trying to dump below market.
Yes. Can you believe that story? I can't even believe that story. It blows me away. I said when I first saw the formula, what they were doing, I said to myself, these guys are going to go broke. They have no idea what can happen to them on every single one of these houses. They have no idea what can happen to them.
You know, it's kind of funny. One of the guys in a mastermind we're in said he was buying some stuff from Zillow now. So I went on Zillow and started looking at properties, and they own like 78 in Charlotte, 92 in Raleigh, 246 in Atlanta. And I just went through and looked at about 30 or 40 of, because there's a button under the more section. You can click on owned by Zillow. So I did that, and I searched about 30 or 40, maybe 50 of their properties. Over half of them are listed below what they paid for it, right? I couldn't believe the prices that they're paying for. These are $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, even $600,000 houses. And there's no room in these deals to make any money. I have no idea what they were thinking. I have no idea. And the guy in our mastermind, he was talking about, he's out there making 60, 70, 75% of asking price offers, and he's bought 2 or 3 of them like that. He's already bought them. So they're ready to sell.
Wow. Just another case where it's not their money. So what the hell? Let's try something. If it doesn't work, who cares?
They're going to take a $500 million hit.
If it doesn't work, if a private guy loans me money and it doesn't work, I'm going to be dead before it doesn't work, because that's my whole reputation. If I don't have those people in my corner I don't have a business. And so you and I look at it quite different, don't we?
Exactly. Exactly. That's good. Man, I really appreciate you having me on. This has been a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the webinar we're going to do too. That's going to be awesome.
All right, we're going to do this webinar. Go to 1000houses.com/riches. Get over there and get your one-page offer to purchase and sign up and get registered for the webinar. Anything else before we go, Larry?
Yeah, let me tell them about that one-page offer, okay? When I'm on the phone with the seller, and I know we're out of time, but when we're on the phone with the seller, I say, I've got a simple, standard one-page agreement. It says I'm buying your property as is, where is for cash. I'm paying all closing costs. There's no commissions, and I'm paying the attorney fees and all that. Even if I'm buying on terms, it's got the terms built right into it, along with my clauses like non-recourse, fully assumable, first right of refusal if they sell the note, all those good terms that you want. So that's my one-page offer to purchase. And it says at the top of it, one-page standard agreement, right? So when you go over to the show notes, you'll be able to get that and download it and use it for yourself. Of course, I don't know the laws in all 50 states, so check it out with your local real estate attorney that you use just to make sure there's not anything that's left out or you need to add for your state. But I haven't heard anybody yet that can't use it. So go over there and download that.
All right, my friends. I think that's about it. We're going to wrap it up. I'd like to thank everybody for stopping by to get you some Larry Goins. Make sure you sign up for that webinar and get your one-page offer to purchase at 1000houses.com/riches. I would also like to thank livecom.com for sponsoring this episode. Livecom, LIVECOMM.com. It is all about smartphone numbers that capture incoming callers' phone numbers and then being able to take that whole distribution list of captured inquirers and being able to text them for 2 cents a piece to tell them whatever it is you want to tell them. It's like the cheapest bullseye ever. Someone has called on your sign or your ad. You now have their cell phone number. You can text them for 2 cents. It's a hit right between the eyes, and you get to tell them about the other houses you have for sale or any opportunity you want that makes sense to be delivering to that person. And it's cut my days on market down from, it was 9 days before COVID, and something happened in COVID, and now I'm averaging 4 days on the market.
Wow.
With 200 houses. And I'm using Livecom in conjunction with Facebook business page, which they're all pennies to deal with. I mean, it's just ridiculously cheap. I used to spend a lot of money trying to sell houses and put in classified ads and stuff. I don't spend hardly any money now. So check it out, livecom.com, LIVECOMM.com. There's a video on the homepage. It'll give you a clue. And this works for almost any business that would like to have the phone number and be able to text the customers that called them. What business doesn't want to do that? So check it out. And I appreciate you, Larry. We'll see you on the flip side. We'll see you at that webinar. All right.
Thank you very much.